Hi, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of Blossom and Grow, the podcast that helps you create the future self that you want by starting today. How are you ladies doing today? I would love to know in the comments. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in, whether this is your first time viewing my channel or you are a returning viewer. So, for today's episode, we're going to be talking about why you can't allow fear to dictate your life. And even if you are afraid, you got to do it anyway. Let's get into it. So, the reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because I realize there are a lot of people who are afraid to do something, whether that's, starting something like a business or starting to go to school or ending something, whether that's a job, a career choice, or a relationship. Sometimes it can be a little scary when you don't know what's on the other side. It's like, okay, if I do this thing, if I start it or stop this thing, what is my life going to look like after I do that? And sometimes the fear of the unknown is real. No matter how much we try to be brave, sometimes it's just like, okay, I really don't know what's going to happen. And, that's a little scary. So you never know what could happen if you never try. The reward can be way better than what you could ever imagine. So, friend, what if you're the reason you haven't succeeded yet? Hear me out. So you can't allow fear to dictate your life and make the decisions in your life for you. I know it's easier said than done, but when you are fearful and you're like, oh my goodness, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, or I don't know what it's going to look like, do it anyway. That's when you have to step out on faith and trust that it's going to work out for the better. It's going to work out the way that it's meant to work out. So don't let your fears and your thoughts keep you from doing something that you really feel like you should do, or something that you just really want to do, you know? And it's not always your fears that could be keeping you from doing something as well. It also could be your family and friends. And not saying that your family and friends are bad people and they're trying to keep you stuck and stagnant and they don't want you to progress in life. But sometimes people mean well when they tell us things, but it could be coming from a place of fear from them as well. So you might be trying to do something and you tell your friends and family about it, and out of fear, they might be like, "Oh, I don't think you should do that. There's really no money in that. Not many people make a career in that," not knowing that you could actually become very successful in that thing. Sometimes you can't listen to the fears of family and friends because that can keep you stagnant and keep you stuck. Again, not saying that they're purposefully doing that or trying to do that to you, but it can happen. Sometimes you have to, I guess you would say, go against the grain. Sometimes the thing that you're trying to do, your family and friends haven't done yet. So they have no idea what that could look like. And sometimes they might have tried to do it, but it didn't work out for them, not knowing that it will work out for you. So don't allow the fears of somebody else to keep you from doing something that, you feel that you should be doing. And when it comes to trying something new, don't be afraid to fail. You might not succeed on the first try every single time you do something. And that's okay. You can't be afraid of the obstacles that come up in life. Sometimes obstacles are going to present themselves. But I personally feel that you only fail if you don't try. If you don't even try to do that thing or whatever it is that you're trying to do or that you want to do, you're not going to gain anything from it. But if you do fail, because maybe you made a mistake or, other factors, you gain something from it, in my opinion. You always gain something from it. You can gain knowledge on a way to do it better the next time. You can be able to help somebody else who is going on the same path as you so that they don't have to go through the same mistakes that you made. You may even learn that this isn't something that you actually want to pursue anymore. But you will never know that if you never actually gave it a try in the first place. So either way, you gained something that's valuable out of the situation, even if you didn't succeed the way that you wanted to succeed on the first try. Your perspective on situations in your life is everything. So if you look at it from a positive perspective, then you will gain a lot more from it versus looking at it through a negative perspective. Also, don't allow trying to be perfect keep you stagnant either. Because I know sometimes it can be pretty easy to be like, oh, well, it's not perfect yet, so I don't want to start yet. I don't want to do this yet because I haven't gotten all the things. Sometimes you just need to start. Sometimes when you're trying to make everything just so perfect, I feel like that can be led by fear. Like you're kind of fearful of like, oh, like what if I don't get this perfect and I fail, or what if I don't get this perfect and this happens? Just start it anyway. Sometimes you just have to start and then add as you go. Maybe you have to start that podcast in your car. Maybe you got to start that podcast in your car. You got the camera, you got the microphone. That's all you got in the car, and that's just what you have to work with. But if you don't start, you might not be able to help people. Say if it's like a podcast and your whole goal is to encourage people. If you never start, nobody will ever hear your message. If people actually like your message and the message resonates with them, they're going to listen to you, and they're not worried about your background. I can speak for me personally, not even my podcast, but I've listened to other people's podcasts, and I'm like, wow, they have a really good message. And they might be in their bedroom, they might be in the car, they might just be outside by a tree. Like, it doesn't matter to me. If your message is good, I'm gonna listen to you. But just say if those people hadn't started their podcast, they're like, oh well, I don't want to start my podcast because like look at everybody else's podcast, like they have this extravagant background and the trees, the lights, the big microphones and all of that. And I don't want people to not watch me because I'm in my car or I'm in my bedroom or I'm sitting outside by a tree. Nobody cares for real. If your message is good, they're gonna listen. And that's just it. So don't let being perfect keep you from doing the thing that you want to do. And it might not be a podcast. It can be anything that you want to do. Like don't um allow time to pass you by and you're like, oh well it just has to be perfect, and you're taking an extensive amount of time on it. And I'm not saying don't prepare, that's not what I'm saying at all. But don't do it to a point where it's been 1,000 years that went by and you still haven't moved and you still haven't tried, because I still believe that that's led by fear. And don't let fear dictate what you're trying to do. When you're trying to do something, don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have and build with that. So you don't ever want to look back on your life and have so many regrets. You don't want to have any regrets, actually. You don't want to be thinking like, oh, what if I would have done this thing? What if I would have taken this opportunity? What if I would have just started? Or what if I would have left? You know, I remember one time I was sitting with one of my friends, and I can't remember what the actual situation was, but I was afraid to do something, and my friend basically said that you can't allow fear to drive you while you're in the back seat. And I'm like, that's true. That is very much so true. I was allowing fear to dictate my decisions and staying in situations that I shouldn't have stayed in, or not starting something that I should have started because I was just too afraid of what was going to happen if I did do that thing. And um, honestly, like I said, I can't remember what the actual situation was, but my life is going good now. So whatever it was, it worked out great. And fear definitely just kept me stagnant longer than what it should have. But no, that quote that my friend had told me, that I can't allow fear to drive me around while I'm in the back seat, I definitely still think about that now, and it does help me. And I don't allow fear to um, make the decisions for me in my life anymore. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm perfect, and I don't ever get nervous about things. But sometimes when I do get nervous, I just think about the reasons that I am nervous. And I think of a counter argument for that thing. So an example would be if I apply for a job and I got an interview, I might the negative thought, the fearful thought might be like, oh well, what if they don't like me? What if I do terrible in the interview? What if I don't get the job? And the counter argument would be, okay, well if I don't get the job, maybe that opportunity just wasn't for me at that point in time. Well, at least I tried, and I didn't. I don't have any regrets. Or the counter argument could be, what if I do get the job? What if I do get the opportunity? What if I am able to um, do the thing that I really want to do and make the amount of money that I really want to make? And yeah, that would be an example of a counter argument. And I do that whenever I have a fearful thought. Um, I'm like, sometimes the fearful thought for me personally, it's kind of silly. It's like, what are you scared for? Like, just do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Life is gonna keep moving, and yeah. So nothing good can come from being fearful. To my understanding, being fearful can put you in flight or fight mode. Um, it can cause anxiety, it can cause depression, it can alter your decision making skills. And this is why you can't allow fear to dictate your life, because it's not going to lead you anywhere good. In the Bible, there are a couple scriptures that I encourage you to read on your own, but I'm going to read a few of them now that kind of go along with what the podcast is talking about today. So the first one is Matthew 6. This is the NIV version, and it starts with verse 34. And it says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So the next one is Joshua 1, verse 9, and this is the NIV version as well. And it says, have I not commanded you? Be strong, be courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And the last one is Psalms 56, and it is verse 3, and this is the NIV version as well. And it says, when I am afraid, I put my trust in you. So worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet can cause a bunch of anxiety and stress. And I'm sure that's not what you want for yourself. So don't worry about things that haven't happened yet. You have no idea what's going to happen. But something that I did hear a bunch of times is that the area in a person's life where they are the most fearful is where they trust God the least. And I believe that to be true. You can't say that you trust God to work things out for you and you're fearful in that particular area in your life. So what I would say is just trust in God's plan, trust in Him, and just trust that everything is going to work out the way that it's supposed to work out. Friend, did you know that there's somebody on this earth right now that were willing to take that risk, and they are doing the thing that you want to do, and they are doing it well? Did you know you could possibly do that too, friend? Don't allow fear to dictate whether you start whatever it is that you want to start, because you literally never know. Like I said, you never know what can happen. Friend, you gotta push those fears off to the side. Don't no they don't have no place here. Push those fears off to the side and start that thing. Do whatever it is that you feel that you're supposed to be doing. Do whatever it is that God is calling you to do. And remember, you're not always going to succeed on the very first day. The very first try, you might not succeed. But again, you are getting something from it because you at least try. And remember, don't compare your day one to somebody else's day 653, because you never know what their day one looked like. Their day one could have looked exactly like what your day one could look like, and you just didn't see that because they didn't tell you about that process that they went through. So don't compare processes with somebody else and feel discouraged because your process doesn't look the same as theirs. So you think. Um, your process is your process, their process is their process, and don't let that deter you because you can do this, friend. You gotta just put in that work. As always, I appreciate you ladies for making it to the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, drop in the comments. Fear has no place here because it doesn't. And I appreciate you guys again. Please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And remember that you got this, friend. And I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.